Hello, listeners. We are your hosts, Nigeria
Yesenia.
and we are thrilled to welcome you to Notes from the Secretarial Pool. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the admin world together. Can y'all tell I read that? So, a couple of quick things, or maybe just one, but the correct name for our podcast is Notes from the Secretarial Poll. So I know in our last episode, first episode, I said tails quite a few times. It's actually going to be or is Notes from the Secretarial Poll. Now, I will not say that we will not change it, but I believe we will definitely be using notes from the secretarial poll. Is that right, Yesenia?
That is correct. Originally, we had gone with tails, but we stuck with notes. But who knows?
Exactly. All we know is by the time we get on The View as guests, we will know the official name of our podcast. Um, so I think a good thing we should do maybe each episode is maybe talk about a little bit, maybe a good highlight or even a bad highlight of our work week. Um, I think for me, as far as a good highlight, my office hosted our Bring Your Mentee to Work Day. And I don't know if I mentioned to you that we even have that, but we have like a relationship with one of our local middle school. And some of my colleagues have kids that we mentor at this really cool school. And so we had an event where we brought them into the office. They got to meet staff and attorneys and learn a little bit about their professional journeys. And it was really cool. Do you remember we did something like that at another firm?
Yes, we did. I think we had high school students and we mentored them. Yep.
Exactly.
We had a program just like that. And it was cool. The kids enjoyed it. The staff enjoyed it. The attorneys really enjoyed it.
I know. So good. Surprising. And it's always the
Yeah.
attorneys. It's
Were you
always
part?
the attorneys.
Did
It's
you
always,
participate in one of the mock trials? That was fun.
oh, I did. That was dope. That was
Mm-hmm.
dope. And to that point, it's always the attorneys who you think are probably going to say no. That are like, yes, I'll do it. And they do like the most amazing job. So that was super cool. Any highs or lows from your work week?
Thankfully, I actually had a really nice, calm week. It wasn't as crazy. We're in the middle of transactions, so it's about to get crazy now, but it was pretty unproductive. I mean, it was busy, but not crazy. But I will say that it just came to mind next week is admin week. So happy admin day to you. It's on Wednesday, so that should be productive. Hopefully, it'll be a beautiful event and everyone will feel appreciated.
It should be productive. I wonder if we want to do a subscription only episode where we talk about all of the admin weeks that we've had. They have
I
changed over the
think
years,
I'll pass on
but
that one.
well, look, that's why it's subscription only.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Um, all right, so it has been a long week, with work, with kids, with community stuff, et cetera, et cetera. But it kind of has been a pretty exciting week too. When I told my colleagues, family, and friends that you and I had began a podcast, I got mixed reviews. So colleagues past and present were super supportive. They agreed, like you and I, that this was a fresh idea, something that they never heard of before, and everyone was like, "Yay, go girl, do you," all that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So that was super cool. One of my kids, I shall not say which one, had the
Let's
nerve
see
to
if I can
tell
figure out
me,
which
yeah,
one.
let's see if you can figure this out. Had the nerve to tell me that I was code switching. Listen to the podcast and said I was code switching.
I think
It
I
be,
know it.
it be your own kids. Okay. It be your own kids.
Mhm.
And I was like offended. I was like, code switching. I am, and this is for anyone who is ever listening and comes to the same conclusion. I am a combination of all of my life experiences. So you're gonna get whatever voice you're gonna get when you get it. Okay? So no, it's not code switching. Um, And then John, my husband, said that he and your husband, Antoine, would need to be our joint managers and we're super supportive of us. So that was
John would
great.
say that.
He would say that. He would.
Yeah, he would say that.
He's like,
Yeah.
another thing on your plate? Okay,
Mhm.
whatever. If it makes you
Yeah,
happy.
so yeah, someone said, "How did she convince you to do that?" Like,
Oh.
don't you have
Someone
enough
that we both
on
know?
your plate? What happened?
Someone that we both know?
No.
Okay.
I'm remember, as you know, I was a little hesitant because I public speaking is not my forte.
Girl, ain't
So I was quite nervous, but actually several people reached out to me and said it was cool. They loved the episode. They loved the vibe we gave. That it was fun, cute, and they were looking forward to hearing more from us. So that kind of, got me excited. I'm super excited on this journey we're on. Girl, we're podcasters now.
Look, we are podcasters now, and podcasters run the gamut. I mean, there's all kind, so like whatever, get in where you fit in. Um,
Yeah.
we didn't share because we didn't have our social media handles last time around. So, if you guys want to follow us on this journey outside of the actual podcast episodes, our Facebook handle is Notes from the Secretarial Pool. And our Instagram handle is, and yes, I am looking it up, notes underscore from underscore secretarial underscore poll. Now, I know there's a lot of underscores, but that is because that is all that Instagram would offer.
Also, don't forget to mention the YouTube page.
Oh, yeah, the YouTube page, thank you, is notes from a secretarial poll. So that's super easy.
Hmm.
Um, so the other highlight of the week was I'm sitting across from my husband at the breakfast table, and I'm looking at our Facebook page, and I see a follow from no other than Ebony K. Williams, Esquire. And I tell my husband, "Oh my goodness, Ebony's following us. Ebony's following us." And he's looking at me like, "Who the H is Ebony?" Like, who's Ebony? And I go, Ebony K. Williams, she's an attorney. And so I start like running off all of her accolades. And he's like, okay, well, that's fine. But I'm going to tell those who are listening who she is and why we are so excited. So she's obviously an attorney. She is the producer of a legal podcast called Holding Court. She is a new television judge. She's a journalist. She's an author. And she was the most educated cast member on Bravo's New York City Housewives franchise. And she made it known that she was the most educated on that show. So we were super excited and thankful to her. I mean,
Yeah.
she's what we would call a big girl in the game. And so I don't know, it's just exciting. So yeah.
Yes, we're very honored to have her support. So thank you, Miss Williams, for joining us on our journey.
You see how you always can wrap it up in a bow. I'm all the emotion, and you're like, and so thank you so much. So so what's our topic for the week?
Is hybrid work schedule.
Yeah, boom, 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 boom. Hybrid. Um, is it
So
here
when
to
did
stay?
will it stay? I hope so, because I can't do 5 days anymore.
I
It's too
can't.
much.
I can't do it. I can't do it
Yeah.
nowadays.
The
Um,
commute is exhausting. I don't know about you. What have I told you how long my commute is?
not really, but
Okay, so door to door, my commute is 2 hours each way. So I have to go from automobile to a ferry to the train. Yes.
wait, so
It sounds like
you take the ferry to Metro North?
yes, because I'm on the opposite side of the river. So I have to take a ferry. And it's not fun when it's raining. It's not fun when it's snowing. Have in the winter, the river freezes up.
I
So I have to take a shuttle bus. Yes, it's exhausting. So I love the fact that hybrid exists now.
I mean, yeah, it exists now as like an official thing, but I want to say as early as like 2010, I've had many of instances where I worked from home. For my attorneys, especially one litigator who was like the writer for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, yeah. Many,
Yeah,
many,
it didn't start
many,
for
many
us
times.
during COVID. It started
No, but
before
it's like
COVID.
weird to me that people act as if it's a new capability. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. No,
So,
it's more an acceptable capability. A lot of firms have embraced it now that they can see that it can be done. That's the difference.
well, yeah, and then also a lot of firms are seemingly no longer wanting to embrace it.
True,
Uh,
true.
so there's that. But I know you looked up some information about hybrid work schedules.
Yeah, so I looked up some companies who do analytics. They do research studies on it. For instance, Pew Research Center and Gallup. Pew stated that it's actually that most teleworkers in the US working from home, it helps them balance their work and personal lives. And I completely agree because it's helped me balance mine. But also, Gallup last year, actually in October, they stated that the greatest benefits for hybrid for both the employee and the employer were improved work life balance, less burnout, more
Yeah.
efficient use of time throughout the day and work week, more freedom to choose when or where to work, and
Yeah.
it also has higher productivity, improved retention, and a bigger talent pool. Because
Oh,
mostly, everyone's looking for hybrid now.
yeah. I mean, if I was someone who was in the workplace right now, I would not even entertain a job
No,
posting. I
not
just
at
wouldn't.
all.
If it didn't include hybrid or remote in some kind of way, it's like scroll, scroll, scroll. You know, like, because you think about like salary, money, benefits, and all this stuff. It's fabulous, it's great, but it's also what you work for. But I think that, you know, all of those things, no matter how great they are, if there aren't at least 2 days, that you could work remotely, it
Mhm.
just doesn't add up for me. And I also always try to think of like, okay, so we know that's the case for us because I talk to a lot of people who are like, um, in our age range or who have the level of experience that we have, but then I also talk to like younger folks. Younger folks really are not entertaining it.
No, not at all. And I strongly believe that 2 to 3 days is more than enough time. Unless you have a work demand that requires you to be in the office that
Yeah.
entire week, there's
Yeah.
no necessity for it. And Gallup also wrote an article saying that a combination of in-person and remote time actually works best for engagement and well-being. They found that
Mental
long commutes,
health.
yes, well, they found that long commutes are linked to poorer overall well being, daily mood, and health, and that even 30 minutes of commuting time is linked to higher stress and anger. Okay, so you imagine me that I have 2 hours each way?
Yeah, and I think I have about an hour because I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because of the traffic. I mean, if it wasn't for the traffic, it doesn't take me an hour to get to my office, but it is because of the traffic. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I just think for me it's really mental health, to be quite honest. Like even for myself, Thursdays are like our busy, busy day, lots of meetings, um, events, all just a lot of things going on Thursdays, and it seems like I need that Monday where I mean that Friday where I could be like, okay, I don't have to get dressed. I don't have to get dressed. I don't or put on makeup. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. I could just get out of bed, get myself ready for work, have my coffee, sit at my desk, check in with my team, and just do the work. Like without having
Mm-hmm.
all those other things that you have to worry about as far as commute and partying, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I think for me it's just a mental health call and just it's what makes me happy about this whole thing is I know like when we started, there were so many things that we just had to like accept as employees.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, when I look at like the younger folks, I'm just really proud of how they're just like not going for certain things.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy. Um, let's
I
see.
actually find I'm more productive from home. I don't have the constant interruptions. I don't have
Oh, for
um
sure.
all the
You're
noise
coming
in
to
the
your
background.
desk,
So I get to
you're
focus
going to your
more.
coworker's
Mm-hmm.
desk. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think in line with that, let's go over maybe a couple of things. I mean, that you and I have always done in our careers, but that um makes it easier to have a remote or hybrid work schedule. Like, because I think, look, there are some people who take advantage of working remotely. We're not going to act as if, you know,
Mhm.
everyone's
But
on.
those are usually the same people who take advantage in the office.
They are. But I think some things for people to remember is that when you're working remotely, let your team members know when you're going to be on, when you're going to be off. Um, don't let your team members have to wonder if you're availavailable. You should
I
literally
agree.
be available from start to finish. And I
It's
think,
funny. I think I communicate more when I'm remote than I do when I'm in the office. Because of course in the office they can see me there. But whereas when I'm home, I tell them when I stepping away, I tell them when I'm going to lunch, I'm tell so I communicate even more from here than I do there.
yeah, we do. We do that. I don't know if everyone does that.
Yeah.
Also,
And
I
we
think
use Zoom chat. Do you use
flexibility,
Zoom chat? Do you
I
use
think
like Zoom chat?
I think it's gonna be so obvious that we're not in the same place when we do this podcast. We're like, we're not talking over. We're gonna like have to meet in New Jersey to do our like
Halfway.
midpoint, rent like a room and do our podcast. But whatever. Yeah, no, I totally agree with all those things. I think another thing is probably to try to tailor your appointments on your remote days. And I know it's not always possible. I mean, it just isn't. Some doctors' offices just have different, days when they're in. But I think it's super helpful if you can tailor your appointments to the days that you're remote. Especially for me, it's way easier. If I have a doctor's appointment, like Mondays are my remote days. So I can make a doctor's appointment at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, do whatever I have to do and then come back to the house, log on. It's way easier than like having to do that and then driving to the office.
I agree. Like if I have a medical appointment, I would have to take the day off
Exactly.
because of my commute time and how far I am from the office.
Exactly. I think another one is probably to just be as flexible as you are or as you should be when you're in the office as remote. So like if something's going on and maybe the team needs you to log on at 8, you know what I mean? Or stay on until 6 or whatever the case may be. Just being flexible to do that, I think is super important. I think that as for admins and for those of us who want to continue to have hybrid work schedules, we just have to remember that, you know, the work still comes first
hmm
and you have to be available for the work before you can even talk about like keeping a hybrid work schedule. So just a couple
Flexibility
of
is important.
pointers. Yeah,
hmm
it is. So I guess at the end of the day, it's just about keeping lines of communication open. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Let's see, what else do we have that we'd like to
So,
chat about?
how to request during an interview?
I'm not getting to an interview that doesn't have that on their listing. So that's
I
gonna
hear
be
you
on
because
you.
I'm not
How
either
do
because I'm doing my due diligence. I'm going to make sure that they offer it and that it's not temporary. It has to be permanent because I'm not going to go from one place where I have flexibility to go somewhere else. And I'm told that I have to be in the office 5 days a week. I'm not doing that.
well, the other thing with us knowing so many people throughout the industry that we just call someone and say,
And
girl,
that's
your office really remote or is it fake?
and that's where LinkedIn has helped us communicate with other people in other firms
Well, I mean, but even the ones that we already know.
that
Oh,
we
wait a
know.
second. Have you heard of this web? I have to look into this more, but this website, or I think it's a website called Fishbowl.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know what it's about.
So I was at a dinner the other night and my colleagues were we were talking about glass door, you know how you can go in and see like,
Yes.
okay. So apparently there's one that's like much better called Fishbowl, but I have to look into that. And I only thought of that when we were talking about like asking people what's really going down in law firms. And
Okay,
apparently,
so Fishbowl, I just did a quick search. Fishbowl is
awesome.
actually by Glassdoor.
Oh,
So they may have changed their name.
hmm. Well,
Well,
listeners, check it out.
hmm
Because from what I heard, it's like a go. Like it's really, really good. So
yeah. Yeah, it's actually Glassdoor. They may have changed their name or added something to it, but it's all Glassdoor.
okay. Well, that's cool.
Mhm.
Well, I know we said that these episodes weren't going to be super, super long. So we're gonna kind of close out, I guess, at this point. We do want to take the time again just to thank everyone for their support. Please follow us on social media. Let us know what topics you want us to go over, what type of admin or support staff you want us to have on. This podcast is for all admin and support staff. So feel free to engage with us and let us know what you think. Just don't tell me that I'm code switching and we'll be okay. um, so on a less lighter note, today I went on LinkedIn, just to check my notifications and stuff like that. And I saw a notification from an old colleague of mine. Her name is Danelle Gager, who is deceased. And so we wanted to take the time to, uh, and I'm starting to get really, really sad. as I say this. So
I
there's
know.
a nervous laughter. To dedicate this podcast to her. Danelle was an amazing friend, mother, grandmother. Um, she was the best word processor that I have ever encountered.
Ever. And I agree, ever. She was
Ever.
amazing.
She was the type that, again, one of my litigators who was the heavy writer for our team. If I was out and like we both couldn't be out at the same time, let's put it like that. We could not be because he would not allow anyone else to touch his document but her. Her reputation was impeccable. Um,
Her
yeah,
skill set was amazing. There was
it was,
nothing she didn't know about any of the softwares at our company.
and she was just a stand-up girl too. Because I don't know if we ever talked about this, but when I first started that firm, there was some type of a new program or update or something that was going on with whatever software we were using to compare documents at that time. And I don't know if you remember, we used to come in or be on call on weekends and stuff.
Yes.
Um, I was on a call. No, I think I was on. I was in the office. I worked on some document. I'm using this new software. They didn't tell us that there was a change in the software, whatever it was. They didn't tell us that this was happening. And so I did the changes to this document, ran the software, did whatever I had to do, sent it to the attorney. And I'm still a baby assistant at this point. And he came in like that Monday and was like totally upset. This was wrong, that was wrong. But meanwhile, I had printed out the document. So I had proof of what I actually sent him. And so because her skill set was not just, word processing, she was able to go in and find out that the software had been updated, that these were the changes that had like the whole thing. And what struck me about her was that she didn't know me from Adam. She could have just said, well, let them deal with it. You know what I mean? And she didn't. She went into the attorney's office. I was a floater at this time. Went into the attorney's office and said, it's not her fault, right? And mind you, she had such clout in the office, right? She's like, this is not her fault. This is what happened. She told HR at the time the very same thing. This is not her fault. This is what happened. And made it to where I didn't even have to defend myself. She defended me to others when I was not in the room. So um yeah, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but we just want to give her a special shout out because she's been gone for a while. And when you get those reminders from LinkedIn, I don't know, it just touched me up today. So thank you, Danielle, for all of your hard work and dedication to the field. And thank you for being a great friend.
Yes,
Um,
rest in peace, Danelle. We surely miss you.
we do. And I think with that, we are going to sign off. What
Good
do you
night.
Good night.